Okay, so this is the screen that you will see when you first download and open the app. The only thing to do here is select your language. Defaults to English, but you can click here and it will drop down and you can select your language. Then press continue and the rest of the app will be translated into your language of choice from there on out. This first screen just explains a little bit about what ReadyNow does and why it exists. Then again, here it just goes a little bit high level about how the app works, that you first, make an emergency plan and then you press the ReadyNow alert button to activate that plan essentially if you're faced with arrest. You can also click here to get an FAQ with a little bit more detail. You press continue, and then there's just a small note that emphasizes that we recognize that the security of this data is very important and that we've taken the utmost security precautions and built-in security features. You can also click here to the FAQ to learn more about the specifics of those security features. And then there's a security tip here suggesting that you, to reinforce the protections of the data on this app as well as all other apps on your phone, that you have the passcode or for your phone not be biometric, so it should be a number or pattern. Click continue, and then now you're brought to the login screen. So here, rather than enter an account name and password, which is less secure, you just log in using your phone number, which you would enter right here. Then when you enter your phone number, you press continue. You will then be texted an access code, and you receive that access code from your text messages. In some cases, it will just auto-populate here, but you enter the access code here. If you didn't receive the code for any reason, you can press resend code here. That's the two-factor authentication. Then you press continue. Now you're in the app, you're logged in. And you're going to set up your emergency plan. Before you do, we just kind of give you a preview of what steps you can expect. Your first step is to create a message for legal support if you have it, or if not, to opt in to connect with a pro bono network in the event that you are detained or have an ICE encounter. The step 2 is to create a personal safety message, and this is a message for close friends and family to be notified, to help locate you within the system, and to be able to advocate on behalf of your needs and connect with your legal support. Step 3 is to create messages for other things like child and other dependent care, as well as expected work absences or anything else really. Then you press continue. Here, this is just a note that suggests that before you get started, you assemble these kind of key documents, and it lists the documents here that it recommends you assemble into one singular and secure location, and that you include the location and access instructions within your emergency plan so that loved ones, whether that's friends or family, know how they can access those documents in the event that something happens to you and they need to get that information over to your legal support. Then you press continue. Another thing it suggests you do before you begin to develop your emergency plan is to locate your A number, which is kind of an important identifier to be able to locate you, and also for your attorney to have. Then you press continue, and now you're getting into developing your emergency plan. The first question asks if you have legal support, immigration legal support. If you click no or unknown, and press continue, you are directed to this optional legal support screen, which invites you to optionally share key information with ACADIA Center for Justice, who will connect you, share this information with a pro bono network of attorneys in the event that you are detained, and press the Ready Now alert button. It does not guarantee legal support, but it registers you within the intake for this pro bono network of immigration attorneys that conduct removal defense. So if you choose to opt in to this, you press into these fields to fill out your first name, your middle name, your last name or names, your A number, your country of birth, and then also an emergency contact name, the relationship of that person, which is a drop-down, their email address, their phone number, and then on this drop-down, you're going to want to make sure that this says yes, which allows NILRA to contact that NILRA, which is that pro bono network of attorneys, to contact your emergency contact in the event that something happens to you. You're also going to want to make sure that this is toggled on to enable location sharing, which will ensure that if you press the alert button, that pro bono network is aware of the time and location of your arrest, which will help them identify which detention center you may be in and connect you to legal support more quickly. You're also going to want to check this, which allows us to share this information with that pro bono network. You can skip this if you either don't want to opt into this, or you want to come back to this later, or you fill it out and press save and continue. If you do have legal support, you'll click yes here on this screen, and then you're given some instructions to create a message for your legal support to be sent if and only if you are faced with arrest and fear you will be arrested and detained, and you press that alert button. This message will be sent out to your attorney. This is a sample message, and you click into the sample message to edit it, to customize it for your names, editing and updating the information that is in brackets. So it says, hello, this is your client. You would insert your name here. Hello, this is your client name. And it says here, my A number is, again, brackets. You're going to want to click into that and put your A number there. You can also delete content in here that's not relevant. For example, you'd probably want to delete this sample message line. You also would want to click in here and delete if relevant. And you'd also want to, this says, I need this critical medication for my health. If you don't have any critical medications, for example, you would delete that line. Once you're done getting a sample message that feels appropriate and personalized to you and has all of your key information in there, you would come down here and put the name and number of your legal contact, and you want to make sure that that number, importantly, can receive text messages. So it cannot be a landline, because again, if you hit the Ready Now alert button in an emergency, the app will send out text message alerts, these messages via text message. So the number you put here needs to be able to receive texts. If there's an additional legal contact, you can press add contact, and it will allow you to put an additional name and contact to receive that message. If you have totally separate legal support with another agency, and you have other specifications for the message, you can add an additional message here. You can skip if you want to come back to this later, or press save and continue to save your progress or save the final version. Once you finish the legal support message, you will fill out your personal safety message. This screen is just explaining what that is, and reminding you that you can assign as many contacts to receive a message as you'd like, or even create different messages for different contacts. Press continue. Here it re-explains what a personal safety message is, recommends that you include information such as, and it lists the type of information you're going to want to include in your personal safety message, and then instructs you to edit the sample message below to customize it with your information and for your needs, and reminds you that these messages will only be sent out if and when you press the Ready Now alert button in an emergency. Again, you click in here to put your information, update the placeholders in brackets with your information, delete things that aren't relevant to you. You add the name and number of the close, trusted, personal contacts that you would like to receive this message in the event of an emergency. You can put additional contacts, as many as you'd like, friends, family, whomever, and then press skip if you want to come back to this later. Press save and continue if you want to save your progress, or if you have completed this and would like to save this. Then finally, it allows you to select which topics you'd like to create additional messages about. So which of these topics are relevant to you? Do you have a child or another family member that you care for that you'd like to list out in care instructions for? Do you have an elderly person that you care for that you would need to leave instructions for in the event that something happened to you? A pet? Do you want work to be notified in the event that something happens? So you click all that apply, and it will highlight these options. So, I might click child care, elderly care. I might click them all and press continue, and then I will be given the option to create a message for all of those. So child care, this is the message that would be sent to folks that you would like to be responsible for caring for your child or children in the event something were to happen. It again recommends some information that you include, instructs you to edit this sample message below here, and reminds you that this will only be sent out if you press the alert button. Again, you click in here to customize this message with the instructions that would be relevant for your child or children, and then you assign the contacts here. Again, pressing this button to add additional contacts. Maybe you have a different message for your second child, and you want to assign different contacts to that. So you can add as many different messages as you'd like. Again, press skip or save and continue. Again, pretty much the same thing, same idea here. Information to include, suggested information to include, edit your sample message, add the contacts that you would like to receive that message about elder care in the event they need it, then press skip or save and continue. Pet care, if you have a pet, you're going to want to create a message with instructions for pet care, emergency pet care, add contacts. And let's imagine that I do have a pet, but you know what? I'm going to skip and come back to this later. You're welcome to do that. Then you can optionally make a message to inform your employer that you will not be at work We don't suggest you disclose what happened, but just say that there is an emergency. And then you would include the name and contact of your employer or employers here to be notified if something were to happen. Let's imagine that I edited this, but I didn't finish it. I would still just press save, and I could come back to it later. This next screen, once you finish all of your messages, you're prompted to review your emergency plan here. You kind of carefully, we ask that you carefully review this screen to make sure there's no typos, especially with special attention to the phone numbers that are included in the contacts, as well as important numbers like your A number throughout these messages. You're going to want to write that A number down, write those personal phone numbers down, and cross-check and just make sure that those are right. If a phone number is incorrect, that person will obviously not receive the text message that something happens. That A number needs to be correct in there so that your attorney or loved ones can locate you and have that information to help make your legal case. So you can review your personal safety message, your legal message, your child care message, your elder care message if that's relevant. And only the ones that are relevant to you will appear here. And then when you're all done reviewing, you can press save and continue. Then it suggests that you give your contacts that were assigned to receive any of these emergency message a heads up right now, so that they know to kind of look out for a text from a number from the Ready Now app in the event that something happens to you. So you can copy the message here and then text it to the people that you included in that emergency plan or email. Press continue, and then your plan has been saved. Now, when you open up the app, you will not see that whole emergency plan setup flow. You'll be brought straight to this button so that you can readily access this alert button quickly if needed. And in order to trigger those messages being sent, you need to hold the I'm going to cancel that. You need to press and hold. It's not working right now, but normally if you press and hold this for 3 seconds, that circle fills. You see a darker red kind of come up from the bottom and start to fill that button. Actually, Bilal, right now it says 3 seconds, but we've been given feedback that is too long, so we're probably going to revise that to be a 1 second hold with a 3 second countdown. This is a warning that it's going to send your alert unless you press cancel. Then once your alert is sent, this pop-up will come up, and it just says, basically your messages have successfully been sent. It also notifies you that your emergency plan data has now been wiped from your phone, because it assumes that you're at risk of arrest, and in that case, we want to make sure that there is no data, emergency plan data on your phone in case ICE seizes your phone. But it gives you the option to say you pressed the button by accident, or else you just close this, and now that plan information has been wiped and you're taken back to the home screen. I am going just to quickly click through to get back to where we were. Sorry, this is a prototype, and I need to kind of go through the screens to get back there. Okay. So you press and hold this button. In the event that something happens, you just quickly open the app. This button is there. Press and hold to send your emergency plan messages out. But let's imagine that you open the app, and not because you fear you're at risk of arrest, but because you want to edit something in your emergency plan. You would click down here to where it says plan, down here on the menu at the bottom. It would have you re-authenticate with your phone number. Again, so that if someone were to access your phone, they can't get in and see your emergency plan data unless they have your phone number and they're able to dual authenticate. So you have to go through that authentication, log in and authentication process again, and then you are able to edit your emergency plan, edit or update. That FAQ we talked about is here, and then within the settings, all that exists right now is language and an option to sign out. But this is what the app defaults to. And I think that is it.